Hello and welcome. This is the Marketplace. Here we analyze the market. We talk about the trends and investment and how global development impacts business activities such as yours in Ghana here. On the program today, the Finance Minister's decision to review targets set out in the 2016 budget result in funding cuts for some areas of the economy and also affecting some economic development there. And meanwhile, Imani Ghana's Fiscal Recklessness Index ranked the Ministry of Finance as the most indisciplined when it comes to spending within required budgetary allocations. All these and more we're going to have it here on the Marketplace. And also we'll be looking at Standard Chartered Bank, also having some programs on all this here on the Marketplace. My name is John Kojo Amwak. You can stay interactive with us if you really want to, of course, which we want you to. Our Twitter handle is Joy Business GH, and on Facebook we are at Joy Business. And for more business stories, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business. My name is John Kojo Amwako. Marketplace returns shortly after this break. Welcome back, and this is your Financial Marketplace. In our first story, the Finance Minister's decision to review targets set out in the 2016 budget has resulted in funding cuts for some areas. But which sectors witnessed this reduction, and what are the possible implications for the economy? George Jaffe has more in this report.
One of the areas that have witnessed some significant revision is the total compensation for public sector workers. Government is now looking at spending 13.7 billion cedis compared to the over 14 billion Ghana cedis projected in the 2016 estimates. Going through the supplementary budget also shows that from January to May, government has been able to keep within the spending target when it came to the total compensation and even wages and salaries. The amount of money that government is also hoping to spend on infrastructure projects have been reviewed down marginally to 6.3 billion Ghana cedis. Some economists have also argued that with the about 600 million Ghana cedi cut in oil revenue, projects and sectors like agriculture that draws funding from the sector might also witness some cuts. Total revenue and grants have also been revised downwards by some 149 million cedis to 13.8 billion Ghana cedis. However, when you look at government total expenditure for the first 5 months of this year, there appears to be some overruns, as government has spent a little over 2 billion cedis more than budgeted. Government is also projecting a little over 4% growth rate for the economy at the end of this year. This would mean that the economy could be worth 166 billion Ghana cedis by December this year.
Meanwhile, the Finance Minister said Tekpe insists that the ministry will still meet the set target in the budget.
As we bring down, the debt to GDP ratio, as the GDP increases and we manage our debts, better, I think we should be able to bring the ratio is likely to go up slightly on account of disbursements before the end of the year, and also depending on the growth of GDP. Yes, I did. It was a slip. It was 4.1 or better. I did add a better because we revised it based on the the rebel activity, the FPSO, and the sluggish. The first quarter, could have been better coming out of last year. But now that all those corrections are being made, and we are also restoring our ability to buy light crude and others, we believe that we should be able to perform better. I don't think that we overshot targets. It's just that sometimes it's very difficult to get some targets. Let me give you an example. Last year, for the 2015 budget, if we went strictly by the formula, the 7-year formula, 3 back, current and forward projection, the price was $99. when we realized that we couldn't do $99, according to the benchmark formula in the PRMA, we went to Parliament and used a lower figure, as you are aware. If we were to apply the benchmark, which is 7 years, which was supposed to smooth out, we would have used 86 for the 2016 budget. Instead, we used 53, which was reasonable according to the IMF, and the markets and everybody, unpredictable.
Now, in other stories, Standard Chartered Bank has ruled out reducing its investment in Ghana and other countries in the region despite the difficult economic environment. The challenge has resulted in some giants in the financial sector pull out of the region, whilst some firms in Ghana are also said to be relocating into neighboring countries in the region. But Regional Chief Executive of Africa and Middle East, Sunil Kwashai, says they are rather working to increase investment in the sub-region or in Ghana and other African countries.
The opportunities for us in Africa are tremendous, and what we have seen, despite the headwinds, the performance has been very, very resilient, and we are encouraged by that, given our role in terms of attracting capital from different parts of the world into a continent which is growing and which has need for capital. We end up playing a very strategic and important role in the continent and in Ghana in particular. Taking what we have to the next level by making the investments in the areas where we believe we have clear strengths. So the other example would be if you take what China is doing on One Belt, One Road. We believe that has a lot of resonance with Africa. So we are putting in Chinese talent into our markets in Africa. We are creating a bridge between the capital pools in China and creating opportunities for them to invest into Africa. So it's at multiple levels, it's multifaceted.
Now, failure by the ECG to release a timetable for the current load shedding exercise in the country is said to be crippling small-scale businesses. Joy Business News has been speaking to some small-scale business owners to find out how much of a difference the release of a load shedding timetable would make in running their businesses during a power crisis.
Has made it clear that the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, cannot release a load shedding timetable, stating the current erratic power supply is just a temporary problem. This is despite calls from a section of the public for the ECG to, as a matter of necessity, draw up a load shedding schedule. The erratic power supply is currently affecting many businesses and rendering their operations ineffective. Small-scale businesses seem to be bearing the biggest consequences. Joy Business News visited some cold store operators in Accra to find out how helpful a load shedding timetable would be to the management of their businesses.
The loss, the damage, we can't name it. It's killing us. That's the reason why I'm saying something about the situation now. Because if it's not killing us, nobody will comment about the situation. Everyone to enjoy the light. We're not talking about those people are using it in the domestic places. I don't think it's costing us, but we using for business. My sister is killing us. It's damaging a whole lot of things. We cannot say that, oh, this is that or that. You can see this is a fish and chicken product always supposed to be getting a normal temperature. So we're pleading on the ECG to help us.
Some printing press operators also expressed their displeasure with the state of the power industry in the country. They say the situation is affecting deadlines.
Yeah, if you have the timetable, then we know how to adjust our production time to suit our client. Also, at least if you know you are not having light today,
and you take an order. You can tell a customer, come tomorrow, come, but you know you can deliver. Assuming you are having about, let's say 12 hours light on, you know what you can do within that 12 hours. So you also know what to produce within that 12 hours. So you can just tell a customer to come tomorrow or tomorrow next for the job.
And the government is saying that he won't bring timetable because it's not doing so, it's just a fault or problem. But you can see yesterday the light went off. We're supposed to have light, but the light went off without our knowledge. So we have to work around 8 o'clock, from 8 o'clock to 4 a.m. this morning. And this morning too, after we have worked, we are here working again. So if the government will do something about it, it will help us, we the press.
For now, despite the assurance from authorities that the situation will go away soon, a timetable will be necessary to save several of such small-scale businesses from eventually folding up.
Now, in May this year, her firm, Purple Trends Ghana, was adjudged the best student startup. It's an African fashion accessories line run by the final year student of the Ghana Institute of Journalism, Joyce Owusu. She shares her story on how she discovered her passion. That's a repeat of the Joy Business Van.
Joyce Owusu just wrote her final exam at the Ghana Institute of Journalism, where she's studying to be a communicator. But that is not what she's most passionate about. Wondering what? Just ride along. Joyce is a fashionista. Her passion, oh no, her curiosity led her to try her hands on making necklaces, bracelets and other accessories.
I saw a beaded chaliwote or a flip-flop that had been decorated with beads. I saw it to be something very interesting, something nice, and I wanted to try my hands on. So I remember I bought the slippers and I got the beads and then I designed it. I just had to critically look at what I saw the first time and try to see if I could replicate or emulate or do something similar or same as I had seen.
Joyce didn't know how good she was at making the stuff she does until she started doing them. How she's able to do them, she has no idea. She'd make accessories for friends and family. Then she realized it could be good business.
I hadn't even conceived the idea of getting it into a business. I thought I was just having fun. So I realized that anytime I wore one to work, people liked it. Then I was working with a firm. People liked it. They wanted to know where I bought it from, who made it and all of that. So I told them I make it myself. People started to request for it. So I made them, took them to work, and that was how I started. I started with 50 Ghana cedis. My very first capital, the money I used to start the business was 50 Ghana cedis. And what I did was that anytime I sold, I added up to I added the profit back to whatever amount I had to buy the raw materials. And that's how it's been so far.
With that amount, Purple Trends GH got to its feet. All that while in school. For the past 2 years, she has had to juggle between school and her passion.
Trust me, it's been wahala. But God's grace has been enough. There were days I only slept for just 2 hours and 3 hours, yes.
Joyce has done amazing work for projects such as the MTN Hitmaker Seasons 4 and 5 and Miss Ghana 2015. All that hard work has paid off. Purple Trends was earlier this year recognized as the best student startup at the Ghana Startup Awards. How did that make you feel?
It really made me feel good because for some reason,
of course you should.
Yeah, really, I was. The thing is, when the nominations came out, I was like, oh really? Because I least expected that nomination.
Joyce works from her Porsche at home. She's very focused, and one of the people she draws inspiration from is Mabel Simpson, creative entrepreneur behind M-Sims.
I was one time thinking about the fact that I don't have a shop, I don't have a showroom. How am I going to cope? Is there a way? Then I remember I heard the story of Mabel Simpson. That story, that bit of her story that she was working from her garage motivated me to say that if she's in a garage and if I don't have the means now to own a shop and I can still operate from the dining table, I should work it out until I was able to get a place of my own, not a place for the business where I live, and I made room, which is my porch, to use for this work. So I'm working from my porch, and I hope that this one will inspire somebody too.
Joyce currently markets her accessories on social media and makes deliveries as well. She's looking to have a showroom of her own. So this is it. Purple Trends GH in this little corner. This is where she operates from, and who says you can't start small? Well, this will be it for this episode of the Joy Business Van. It's empowered by Joy Business, is brought to you by Busy, making good things happen. Time to go.
Purple Trends GH, a report filed by Daryl Kwao. In other stories, the Ghana Chamber of Mines has kick-started a process to enhance transparency in the mining sector as well as stakeholder engagement. This will see mining firms adopt a new method of ascertaining their cost of operations, referred to as all-in sustaining cost metric. This is to replace the old regime it believes gave stakeholders an erroneous impressions of making high profit. Speaking at the development forum organized by the Chamber, Acting Vice President and Head of Finance of Goldfield West Africa region, Augustine Rekonsubanting, noted that the new system introduced by the World Gold Council should go a long way to give a true account of their cost.
We are expecting that this will be more like an educative session to first of all let people understand what the metric is, and then try to let people understand, have more visibility into what goes into producing an ounce of gold in terms of mining the material from the pit and then the gold bar coming out of the furnace. With that understanding, I think there's a lot of misperception out there. The impression that was created by the previous metric was that the mining companies were making a lot of profit. The margins, the profit margins were bigger than what was actually there. What this new metric does is it tells people, listen, this is the true picture of the cost of mining an ounce, and this is the true margin. Obviously, those perceptions, those wrong perceptions, feeds into policies that are made from the government level. It feeds into expectation that some stakeholders and the communities and all those things expect from the mines. But having the right picture means that you do not demand more than what is actually there to be shared.
One of the chief executive of the mining chamber, Suleiman Kone, expressed confidence stakeholders in the sector will now make only realistic demands on operators in the industry. According to him, the system is truly a reflection of operations here in Ghana.
Over the years, the mining industry itself, so to speak, had actually shot itself in the foot by only representing the cost of mining through what they call cash costs. And as I often refer to it, cash cost only talks about the out-of-pocket expenses of companies. But if you want to reflect the true cost of mining, then you need to go deeper. So we had a situation where although companies were reflecting cash costs to the capital markets where they raise funding and all of that, sitting quite well with them because it allowed them to compare across jurisdictions and across mining operations. Other stakeholders also picked up on these, reports. And then immediately what they did was to net off the cash costs from the price of the metal and assume that that was the margin of the companies. It gave a false impression about the operations of the industry, urging governments, even vendors and even employees to demand for more, from these companies. So we thought that, given that the World Gold Council, the recent past, I think sometime in 2012, decided to come up with complementary metrics to reflect the true cost of mining, we should have a forum where we sensitize and educate, the cross-section of stakeholders in the mining industry. We have the Ministry of Finance, we have the GRA, we have civil society here, we have our sector ministry, and so many other people here to really come and share ideas. We share ideas with them, expose them to the new metrics, and the reason why the World Gold Council thought it wise to introduce these new metrics for measuring the cost of mining.
So for this sustaining cost metric, it is really reflective.
It is quite reflected, much better than the all-in cost. The cash cost was not a true reflection, and it didn't, reflect adequately on the mining industry, because once you reflect only your cash cost, then what you are telling the public is that, look, unwittingly you are making a lot of money, when in actual fact you are not, because you have not considered other cost inputs and variables into the whole mix.
And we're taking a short break. Marketplace return after this. You're welcome back. And the Ministry of Finance has emerged the most indisciplined public institution when it comes to the use of budgetary allocations. That's according to Imani Ghana's Fiscal Recklessness Index, tracked between 2012 and 2014 among 19 ministry, departments and agencies. The report cited the Finance Ministry for spending 1.9 billion Ghana cedis more than its approved budget in the years under review. Speaking with Joy Business at the launch of the report, policy analyst Andrew Koblen's team emphasized the need for government agencies to be more efficient in the use with their public resources.
Today we were presenting Imani's Fiscal Recklessness Index, essentially the agencies and the public boards that we think are the most fiscally reckless and contributing to this issue of irregularity that we're talking about today. And this is a very large issue. This is to the tune of 5.9 billion cedis over the past 3 years, from 2012 to 2014. And so let's break this down a little bit. So we have these 5.9 billion cedis that's been mishandled, that's been in bad debts, that's been in taxes that haven't been paid, all of these different sort of issues. And what we wanted to do today was to really break it down, understand what agencies, what individuals are really contributing to this huge amount of mishandled funds and what we can do about it in the future. So what we did a little bit of was kind of ranking these institutions, talking about which ones are the worst, perhaps which ones are the best. And what we kind of came down to is 6 institutions that we thought are really contributing to this problem today. So we talked about the Ministry of Finance, who spent $2.7 billion essentially over what their budget had allocated. And this may not sound like a big deal to the average Ghanaian, but this is something that could have been put towards something incredibly different. It's $2.7 billion that has essentially come from the chest and is going wherever the Ministry of Finance believes that it sees fit, rather than perhaps the Ghanaian people. And so from here we have this 2.7 billion cedis, and we can talk about a number of other agencies that have had some mishandling of funds as well. So as I said, with the Ministry of Finance, that was going against the Bank of Ghana Act. They overspent what they were supposed to essentially spend in a normal year. It was 800 million cedis, and they went 1.3 billion over that.
So that will be it here on the Marketplace. My name is John Kojo Amwako, but you can still stay interactive. I'll get your feedback here on Twitter. Our handle is Joy Business GH, and on Facebook it is Joy Business. For more business stories, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Have a very wonderful afternoon.